Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the host today, everyone's fourth favorite father in this community, Papa West, Jacob E. West, here for a Chokeslam debate. Wait, that's what you'll have me in here, a Chokeslam? Why isn't JTH here? I know that's what everyone's asking. Fun fact, JTH is busy writing questions for the Schmodown for his patronage. So he asked me to fill in for him today. I said, I will try. It's going to be a little bit of a downgrade. You are far better looking than I am and a lot better for this, but oh well, I can do it. And thankfully, though, I am not alone. I do have two other gentlemen here with me. I have right beside me Kevin, the big Poss Man Poss. Kevin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Papa West. And just looking forward to hearing. I've gone back and looked at some matches from these two, and I know that they both know their stuff. I plan on them both bringing it. So let's get it on.
All right, and then the third person rounding out our judges today is Nikki Sullivan. Nikki, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How's everybody doing?
Doing pretty good so far, I think. We haven't talked a lot yet, so we haven't really gone that far. So anyways, we have the three judges, and we wouldn't be doing anything unless we had two great competitors. So we have, right underneath us, the two competitors going out today. The first person, Harley, the queen of crime, Boric. Harley, how are you doing today?
It's 11:30 at night. I'm not going to reveal what day of the week it is because he'll make us all seem like complete losers that are stuck in our house debating wrestling. So let's just assume that this is a Wednesday night. So, but I'm doing fine. Could be out having fun, having some cocktails, blah blah blah. But hey, it's been a wrestling debate. I love wrestling, always have. I'm very knowledgeable, as you can tell with my combat wrestling trivia matches and everything like that. And I'm looking forward to a good debate with Sean here.
All right, and then facing Harley today is Sean, the Crusader Wasserkrug. Sean, how are you doing today?
I'm not ashamed to say what night of the week it is. It's a Saturday, and we are here to talk about wrestling. Your Nerd Fights champion, your future Sports Brawl champion, and now your future Chokeslam champion is here and ready to go because, frankly, this shoulder's got a Nerd Fights title. This shoulder's definitely going to have a Sports Brawl title, and now I want to add a Chokeslam title around my waist. Harley, you're great. I love your wrestling mind, but you're just a stepping stone for me to inevitably become the Triple Crown champion of TMG. And let's talk about wrestling because Sean Cruz is ready to go.
All right. So we have Sean calling Harley a stepping stone. That usually does not go well in a lot of matches. Let's see how that pays off. And then Harley calling us all losers for spending our Saturday night debating wrestling. Also not a good strategy. Let's see how that pays off. So let's go ahead and get this show on the road and let's get ready to rumble. Again, it's 9:30 where I'm at. My kids are asleep. I can't be too loud. I'm sorry. But that was my best impression. Starting off with question one. But you know what? Before I say question one, I do have to say the rules because there might be one or two people watching this match that have not watched a match yet and do not know our rules. So we have 4 predetermined questions that have been given to one gentleman and one lady. Harley, I can't say gentlemen. This is the first time that's ever happened. Thank you for the diversity.
No worries.
Yes. We have given our competitors 4 questions. They've given us our answers. We are going to have 3 different rounds in the debate. The first round is going to be 90 seconds. In your 90 seconds, you're just opening, telling us what your answer is, adding anything to it, doing whatever you want. It is your 90 seconds. Then we're going to move on to a 5-minute free-form debate where our 2 competitors are going to go at each other's throats. No attacking below the belt. There are disqualifications. I will ring the bell if I have to. I will stop this match. I will turn this bus around. Whatever I need to do because I am in control. But 5 minutes, pretty much telling us why yours is better, why theirs sucks. Just give us whatever you want. And then we're going to go on to the last 60-second close. This is your final time to sell us on why your answer is right, why your opponent's answer is wrong. There are a couple different rules in the debates. You do get a 1 minute extension. This can be used in your opening or in your closing, not in the 5-minute debate though. Pretty much before you start, let me know, hey Jacob, I want to use my minute extension, and I will give it to you. And then the other rule is the timeout rule. Harley, Sean, if y'all two are yelling at each other, not letting the other person talk, not letting us understand what you're saying, just bickering back and forth like two little puppies barking at each other, I will call timeout. We will stop talking. It'll be 10 seconds to get y'all calmed down, no talking, and then we'll get back on. And do not test me. I have 3 toddlers. My patience is this thin. I will put y'all in timeout. I will put y'all in the corner, nose in the corner, and you will not finish your dinner. So anyways, now let's get this show on the road. Going into question number 1 in the category of the WCW. The question is, what is the best WCW pay-per-view? Sean, we are going to start you off with this. You have 90 seconds. Time starts when you start talking.
The thing when it comes with pay-per-views is that it's a show that's got to keep the crowd energetic throughout the entire way through. You start off with a great opener. You kind of put after the great opener, you got to have another great match to kind of keep the crowd hot. You kind of then put your middle matches, your in between matches in there, and then you start finishing up with your big matches one after another. Keep that crowd going the whole way through. For me, the one pay-per-view out of WCW's history that has done that from beginning to end is Spring Stampede 1999. It is dubbed the best WCW pay-per-view during the Monday Night Wars. From the beginning of the card with Hoovy and Blitzkrieg to the 4-way main event between Hogan, Sting, DDP, Ric Flair with Macho Man Randy Savage as special guest referee. It is a great card through and through, and it does the one thing that my opponents, I'm going to use in the argument later, is that it keeps you energetic through the entire pay-per-view. And so I'm going with Spring Stampede 99. You're good.
So we have Sean opening it up with Spring Stampede 1999. Harley, you have 90 seconds. Time starts when you start.
Yeah. Hey, Spring Stampede 99. Okay. But like I'll echo a lot of what Sean said, where how you got to build and keep the crowd entertained and all that. Yes, I've chosen the Great American Bash 1989 with a match card that starts. You don't want to blow your load, as a terminology goes. You don't want to blow your load right away in the first match, but get the crowd excited and energetic. Great American Bash 89, sorry, started off with a 2-ring battle royal, which got the crowd excited and got the crowd into it for a bit. But then it started with the second match, Flying Brian Pillman versus Bill Irwin, which was okay. And it's Brian Pillman in his early days when he can go and he's Flying Brian. Then you got the Skyscrapers versus the Dynamic Dudes. It was an okay match. Both those two matches were okay matches. Then you go with Sting defending the TV title, a young Sting against a very young, great Muta. The iconic match duo right there. Great. It was a really fun match. Then you've got Lex Luger, Ricky Steamboat. Lex Luger still young, still in his relatively rookie phase, going toe to toe with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Another good match. Then
All right, so we have Sean, Spring Stampede 1999, Harley with the Great American Bash 1989. We have 5 minutes. And again, I do have to reiterate this. No punching, kicking below the belt. No pulling of the hair. Let's try to keep this fight clean. Remember, we all are friends here. We don't want to hate each other too much. 5-minute open freeform debate. Time starts when someone starts talking.
Well, since Harley basically was describing her entire card in her opener, Harley, you're not even making it me excited to watch your pay-per-view. I did watch it. The Battle Royal is very dull. It ends with a no finish. You have 2 big behemoths in the final 2, and then Teddy Long comes out and says, no, we're not going to have them wrestle because they're partners. We're just going to call it a draw. Horrible way to start a pay-per-view. You have Flying Brian against Bill Irwin. It's basically a one-spot match. The match is boring throughout the entire thing except for the very last move at the end. The crowd is disinterested through the first 4 matches on the show. You told me you agree. You tell me that you agree that the crowd needs to be excited throughout the entire show. Your crowd, it takes a full hour before your crowd actually seems like they give a crap. And that's because of which you skipped over this match. It was a tuxedo match with Paul Heyman and Jim Cornette, which was atrocious. It took an hour into this pay-per-view before your crowd gave a crap. Mine, the opening match, is a 5-star classic cruiserweight title match.
There's only 2 good matches on your card. The other is crap. But I didn't get to finish with. There's also a really fun War Games match with the Fabulous Freebird Samoan SWAT team.
Here's a hot take about War Games. War Games matches are boring. They're incredibly boring. It is 15 to 20 minutes of people individually coming into a cage and just doing punching and kicking until the real action starts at the 20-minute mark when everyone comes in. And then even then, the match ends within 5 minutes, which surprisingly is exactly what happens with this match. It is 20 minutes of guys individually coming in and just punching and kicking, doing nothing really of excitement. And then once everyone come in and people start to get real excited for it, the match ends.
It's not a lot of problem when people actually hit high impact moves like shoulder blocks over the ropes and all that. But also, there's a fantastic main event with Terry Funk and Ric Flair.
I'm not going to argue that. You have a great main event
there, but also with Spring Stampede. Let's talk about Spring Stampede. Yes, Witch Creek, best match on the card.
I wouldn't necessarily say best match on the card, but it starts to show off right. Then you have a fun hardcore match.
And then you go with Disco Inferno, which you got Disco Inferno on the offense for most of the damn match, and that's just boring. And then you've got
the dynamic dudes against the towering squad between. At least that was a very energetic match. It was basically a squash match.
Not necessarily. The dynamic dudes actually got a good amount of offense on them for a little bit.
They almost broke their neck at the end of the match because they didn't even drop him on his head. It was
that's Dan Spiley. Dan Spiley's sloppy. But you want to be sloppy. There's a lot of sloppiness on your card. Hack and Bam Bam Bigelow.
It was a fun hardcore match of ECW style, and the crowd was excited the whole way through.
For the first bit of it, when they were in the aisleway, yes. When they got in the ring and the ring got filled with so much garbage that they couldn't move around and couldn't really do much.
Which is basically all of ECW.
Yeah, but we're not arguing with the ECW and ECW.
Saying that it was a fun crowd match that people really enjoyed.
And also, then you've got another good match. You could say good match with Billy Kidman and Ray Ray. But it was
a great cruiserweight match, by the way.
It was just there's sloppy, a decent amount of sloppiness in that. And then after that, you get an okay match with Benoit and Malenko versus Perry Saturn and
a fun, great brawl tag team match. Kept the crowd energetic the whole way through. They were screaming off the whole way through. Your segment movie,
but also the crowd had your match, and yes, it is a good pay-per-view, as you said, in the Monday Night War era, which WCW is known for having crap pay-per-views.
Which is why this one stands out above everybody else.
It's good in a sea of crap. The main event. None of these guys had chemistry that night.
You had 5 of the best wrestlers in the world wrestling against each other, and they had
star power. It was sloppy. It was so sloppy. I'm sorry. Ric Flair, the best worker in the match, had an off night that night. The brawling was bad. Hogan, thank God he was taken out halfway in the match, for which, of course, everyone already knew, because that past week on the late night show with Jay Leno, he said that he was going to do an injury angle. So, yeah, and then you had Ric Flair.
That has nothing to do based off the pay-per-view. It was a fun, energetic match that left the crowd happy.
It was boring.
Time. All right, so now we are moving into our 60-second closing. Sean, we started with you. So Harley, you're going to start out the closings. 60 seconds. Sell us why yours is the correct answer. Again, time starts when you start talking.
Okay, the Great American Bash 1989 had some really good, fun matches with the matches that mattered, the matches for the titles and the War Games match. Those were all fun to watch. The crowd was hyped up and hot for the entire night. I don't know what you were listening to. Maybe I'll mute. But like Sting, Muta, great. Lex Luger, Steamboat, another good match. Ric Flair, Terry Funk, awesome. Spring Stampede. 2 matches on a otherwise, for the most part, crap card. That's also, I forgot to mention, Booker T, Scott Steiner. Like, God, Steiner could barely fucking move in that match. Like, the last, hour and a half, hour 40 was just a drag to get through watching it again. The main event, it had star power, yes, but it was sloppy, and they just didn't work good together with all 4 of them.
Time. All right. So stopping right before time went out. All right.
2 seconds before.
So Sean, we are moving on to you. 60 seconds to close out this first question. Time starts when you start talking.
I didn't watch this match on mute. I watched this match with full stereo. The problem is that the camera shows the entire crowd basically going like this for the first hour of the show. Your Sting Muta match was a great match. Problem is it had no finish, and they didn't even announce it to the crowd. No one knew how the match ended. It just ended. Luger Steamboat was a fun match, ended in a DQ. No real finish there. Yes, I can't say anything about Ric Flair, Terry Funk. They had a great match the whole way through, but only your pay-per-view is basically a 3-match pay-per-view where the rest of it was trash. It's completely overrated. Mine had a fantastic opener cruiserweight match. It had a great cruiserweight title match between Kidman and Mysterio. It had a fun tag team match with Malenko, Benoit, Raven, Saturn. Goldberg and Nash put a bookmark ending to their Starrcade 98 match. That was a lot of fun to watch. Steiner and Booker was the future of the WCW title, and we got to see it right there. And it had a nice finish that they continued on with the story overall. And the 4-way had 5 of the best wrestlers in the world going at it. That left the crowd home happy with DDP finally taking the belt. My card is better than yours.
Time.
Oh, dead.
All right. So we're almost done with this first question. Now we are moving on to the judging stage. First judge I'm going to go to is Kevin. Kevin, please tell us who is getting your point and why.
Both of you guys made really good points. Sean, I like how you brought up what a pay-per-view is, or what it should be, how it should keep the crowd energetic and hot throughout, and how you showed what your card, how it opened, and what was in the middle and the end. Harley, you also did that. I wish you would have gone more in depth about your matches. That Sting Muta match was really, really good. The match itself, with Sting being young, yeah, the ending was not that great, but the Luger's Steamboat match also not the best ending, but you could have gone more in depth with those matches, and also the Funk Flair match. I think Sean just had more about his individual matches, and also about how your matches were the War Games match was a little boring. The Tuxedo match, yikes. So yeah, I'm gonna give this point to Sean just by a slight edge.
All right, so we have the first vote going to Sean. Nikki, we are moving on to you. Who gets your vote and why?
Yeah, both these competitors coming out the gate hot. I really think that both of you did a good job in your first round. Sean, I think you did a really good job at like naming your competitors in the first round, really selling beforehand, before even talking about what happened in the match, like just selling the match based on who's in it. This is the title card. This is where we go. Second round, Harley, I wish you had said a little bit more. That's one of those things that just kind of happens where one person kind of says more. Sean, I think you did a good job at like controlling the pace of the second round. So yeah, based on those two arguments, it's just Sean sounded more like something that I would want to watch after those arguments. So I got to give my point to Sean too. Sorry.
All right, and with that, Sean takes the first point. All right, so Sean taking the first point. We are moving on to question number 2. And question number 2 in the category of WWE. What WWE superstar should be the next first-time world champion? Since we started off with Sean last question, Harley, we are starting off with you on this question. 90-second opening. Time starts when you start talking.
Well, for the next WWE champion, also to clarify, this is the who has not held the title before. You've got to be right now. Look at your current champions: Bray Wyatt, Samoa Joe. You need someone that can really go up against them and be a viable threat for them. If you want someone who has not held the title before, and in all honesty, you got to have someone who's really good on the mic, really good in the ring, and can actually get the crowd really into the matches, whether heel or babyface. And for my pick, I am going with the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe.
All right. So we have Harley opening it up with Samoa Joe. Sean, 90-second opening. Time starts when you start talking.
I agree with Harley. You need someone that can basically stand up against the Brock Lesnar's and the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Someone who's good on the mic, someone who's energetic, who has great matches, who can work with anybody. And for me, I went with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre has been primed and ready for this for a while now since he's come back. He showed he could do it in NXT. He's ready to do it on the main card. He just needs the opportunity to do it. His matches are entertaining. He keeps the crowd engaged throughout. He's good on the mic, and he has the ability to even grow more and even create a stable with his group. Same thing with Samoa Joe as well. But I feel like it's Drew's time now to become the first world champion over Samoa Joe, who's also a good choice. But I think it's Drew's time now. And I'll concede the rest of my time.
Okay. So we have Harley with Samoa Joe, Sean with Drew McIntyre. We have 5 minutes of debating of whatever you want to do. Again, just make it legal. Nothing illegal, please. 5 minutes when someone starts talking.
Okay, with Samoa Joe, you have someone who's been in the title picture for a while. He's proven that he can carry several companies on his shoulders. TNA and Ring of Honor, especially. Ring of Honor, he helped made Ring of Honor what he was with his 21-month reign as world champion in the early stages. In WWE, he's been in the title picture. He's had top-level promos with the top competition in the WWE. Drew McIntyre, yeah, since he's come back, he's been good. And this is main roster WWE, he's been good. But he's been very stagnant. He's been henchman. There's been no upward progression with him. 2019, for the first half, 3/4 of 2019, he was a lackey for Shane McMahon doing jack all. And he's been back for on the main roster 2 years. He's been a lackey for Dolph Ziggler too beforehand.
That's great. I love Samoa Joe. I do. He's a fantastic wrestler. I loved him in TNA. I loved him in Ring of Honor. You're talking about past stuff. That doesn't mean that he should be the champ now. We need to be starting to look towards the younger, the future generations, not going back to what the older guys who used to be champions who are not champions yet. And the thing about with Joe, yes, you're bringing up the last 2 years. What's been the problem with Joe? Joe can't stay healthy. I'm not going to put a title belt on someone who cannot stay healthy. He's barely been on TV in the last year, not because he hasn't been interesting or good. It's because he hasn't been able to stay healthy. He comes back on TV for 2-3 weeks at a time, and then he's gone for 3 months.
Okay, but also, as Brock Lesnar has proven, you don't need to be on TV all the time to be able to. We're not looking for like 5 years down the road. We're looking for the next champion who has not held it yet. That is the.
You want to be a part-time wrestler, apparently.
So, but also with Samoa Joe, we have someone who has been main evented. He's been in the title picture. He backs it up with promos, awesome promos with AJ, the stuff with the 4-way with Lesnar,
where he was the wrestling dummy through that entire match. Everyone just beat him up through that. That doesn't prove that he should be the next champion. Drew
McIntyre's done almost not much.
Drew McIntyre in every match he's in has been a powerhouse.
Yeah,
he's a dominant wrestler.
Yes, he wins matches, but he doesn't mean anything. There's no upward progression with him. He's just stayed stagnant since he pretty much came back for the most part.
He was a top-tier pick in the draft. He was looked as the captain, one of the team captains in the Flair Survivor Series match. Incredible. He's
not doing anything. They're just staying.
One fantastic Royal Rumble match, and Drew McIntyre is a contender. He's on the brink of turning over and becoming the new champion. Samoa Joe is starting to become yesterday's news because he's barely staying in the ring because he keeps getting hurt. You're not going to.
He gets himself healthy, and even if it's for a relatively short time, he doesn't need to have necessarily a long reign. We're looking for who can really be logically the next champion who has not held the title before. That is Samoa Joe. He's proven it like Drew McIntyre. He's been in the main event. Drew McIntyre hasn't really been in the main event. He's
wrestled Roman Reigns. He's wrestled Seth Rollins. He's wrestled all the top tier talent.
Yeah, but let's go main event. How many pay-per-view main events has he been in?
That's not his fault. And you can say the same thing about Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston wasn't main eventing pay-per-views, and yet he won the belt at WrestleMania.
And that does nothing.
He won main event prior to that. And that was elimination change.
Nothing.
Use that as a staple.
Samoa Joe he has proven that he is main event. He can carry the company. He's done it before. He's done it with TNA. He's done it with Ring of Honor.
Past
1 minute.
It's the past, but he's proven he's been able to do it. He can be given the ball and he can run with it. And he's a powerhouse that can and he's very viable to go against Brock Lesnar and Bray Wyatt, the two current champions right now. Not really. I don't think Drew McIntyre's character fitting in going up. I don't see any reason why he'd go up against Bray Wyatt or Brock Lesnar at all.
Drew McIntyre is the one wrestler on the card that could actually put up a match with Brock Lesnar and win. Samoa Joe has proven in his matches with Brock mid-card toe-to-toe with them without cheating. Samoa Joe mid-card. That's all. That is the future of the company. Samoa Joe is the veteran that is going to be there to boost people up. And you're saying
he can do that as a champion.
Have to be a short reign. You don't want to make a first-time champion someone who's a short reign. You want someone who can have a link.
No, it doesn't really matter. Like Austin's first reign was a couple months.
Close. Whatever you want to call it. Words are difficult sometimes. All right, so now we are moving on to the 60-second closing. We started off with Harley, so Sean, you're going to open up the closing. 60 seconds on the clock. Time starts when you start talking.
The way you describe Samoa Joe, you're wanting to give him the belt because you think he's owed it because of what he did in the past. He's a great on the mic. He has solid matches with people. And when he is in the main event, frankly, I love Joe, but his matches in the main events have not been that great. He is a great wrestler who cannot stay healthy anymore because of his fighting style. You're not going to put the belt on someone who can do that. You want someone who, A, can win the belt, who can be the face of the company, which Drew McIntyre has that face, and who put on great matches with anyone on the card, whether it be a nothing wrestler or one of the top tier guys. Drew can do that. He's young, he's healthy, and you can give him a lengthy title reign that actually means something. You don't give a title reign to someone who's constantly injured and say, well, it doesn't have to be a long reign. Then what's the point? If you're going to put the belt on someone just to give it to them for a couple months, that's a tip of the cap and, frankly, a spit in their face. If you want someone to be the champion, you want them to be the champion and show themselves for the company for months to come. Drew McIntyre can do that. Samoa Joe can't.
Time. All right, Harley, 1 minute on the clock to close out question number 2. 60 seconds, time starts when you start talking.
Drew McIntyre, like I said, for the 2 years he's been on the main roster, there's been no upward progression. He stayed where he has been. There's been no real proof that sometime in the near future, like relatively close future, that they will give him the shot. He's an upper mid carder. That's all he is. There's been nothing there to prove that he can be the one to carry the company. He hasn't been in any pay-per-view main events. Sure, he's wrestled TV main events, but that's not that big of a deal. He's been a lackey for Shane McMahon. He's been a lackey for Dolph Ziggler until he turned on him. There's been no proof for it. Samoa Joe, there's been proof. He has the history with Ring of Honor and TNA. He can kill it on the. He's had pay-per-view main events that were good. He's had. Okay, let's go with that. Promo time kills it.
Time. All right, we are finished with question number 2. Moving on to the judging. Nikki, we are going to start you off with this. Who gets your points and why?
This was a much closer round than the last one, I think. Harley, you had a good comeback this round. Sean, you did well too, arguing your points. I think you said a lot more than Harley. Harley, I think you said better things though. The quality of what you said, I did just think was a little bit better. And I think that the argument that like Samoa Joe might not have a long reign as champion. The question is, who would be the next WWE champion?
First time WWE champion.
Yeah, first time WWE champion. Yeah. So I think that Harley answered that question better with her argument. So I'm going to give the point to Harley.
All right, so we are moving on to me now. And again, I just have to reiterate exactly what Nikki said. This was another great debate, great argument. Y'all were back and forth the entire time. Harley did say some good things about Drew is the future. And if this was the next 5 years, then Sean, you'd have it. But really looking at today, why it makes a little more sense for Samoa Joe as opposed to Drew McIntyre. But Sean, you combated that with Samoa Joe can't stay healthy. And Harley, I didn't hear anything about that except for let him have a short title reign, which Sean said that's a slap in the face. I really wish you'd have said something a little bit more about his longevity of it, his ability to stay healthy. So I'm, again, slightest of margins. I'm giving my vote to Sean on this. So, Kevin, we are at a crossroads here. It is your job to tell us who gets your points, and not only that, who gets the points.
All right. So, Harley, like Nikki said, you did come back strong in this round, and I commend you for that. Samoa Joe, he is good on the mic, great in the ring. He can compete against the current champs. I get where you're coming from. However, I feel like if this were maybe a couple years ago, maybe that would have been the right answer. Sean just kept coming back against that with, he did carry Ring of Honor TNA in the past. He can't stay healthy. And so I don't think that makes a good title holder for any company. And Drew McIntyre has positioned himself in that upper mid card. And so I think he's in a good position right now to be the next first-time world champion. So I give this point to Sean.
All right, and so with that, Sean, you take question number 2. You are up 2 points to nil in everyone's favorite soccer terms. We are moving on to question number 3. Harley, this is do or die. You have to get this to keep going. Sean, you can close us out. Get the knockout by getting this point. Question number 3, in the realm of ECW. Question is, who is the best ECW world champion? Sean, we're going to start you off on this. 90-second opening. Time starts when you start talking.
What makes a great champion is not how many times you won a belt, not how long you held the belt. It's what you do with the time that you had the belt, what great feuds you had, what iconic moments you had, what made you stand out above everybody else. That's what makes you different from someone who is Hulk Hogan, who had long title reigns but just basically walked over everybody, to someone like a Stone Cold Steve Austin, who had iconic feuds with people but didn't hold the belts nearly as long. And for me, when it comes to ECW, there are plenty of champions to choose from, iconic champions, memorable champions. But for me, the one that stands out the most for me as the most iconic, to the point that when you think back at ECW and you look at champions, he's the one that stands out most for me, and that is Raven. Raven, with his flock, had basically is what the epitome of ECW is and what made ECW as great as it was. Not the beginning of ECW, but the core beauty of what ECW was. And I think Raven was the prime candidate for that. And he wrote it to succession with great feuds and iconic moments. And that's why I'm giving my choice to Raven.
Conceding?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so Sean, starting us off with Raven. Harley, 90 seconds. And again, this is make or break, do or die. 90 seconds, time starts when you start.
Okay, Raven, okay. But also, when you think of the ECW World Heavyweight title, basically you didn't mention really Raven's ECW title reign, World Heavyweight title reign there. But you think of the Heart and Soul, basically from day one, who Paul Heyman put the company on their back for what, from 93 till unfortunately Paul Heyman stopped paying him in 99. The Heart and Soul, and the guy who you hear ECW World Champion, you think of basically one person, Shane, the franchise Douglas. His combined total for the 7 years that ECW was around, his combined total title range was 2.4 years. ECW, Shane Douglas carried the title, created that title when he won the tournament. Also, he put ECW on his back against the Invaders. He was the main eventer for ECW for that time period. Shane Douglas, you just ECW World Champion. You think of one person, Shane Douglas. That's the first person that comes to mind, and I'm conceding.
All right, we have Sean with Raven, Harley with Shane Douglas. 5 minutes on the clock. Again, make or break time. 5 minutes. Time starts when one of y'all starts talking.
You say they put the back of the company on Shane Douglas. They didn't put the back of the company on Shane Douglas. They put it on Terry Funk, but Terry Funk was too old to carry it, so Shane was option number 2. Shane, yeah, he held the belt the longest. He held the belt the longest because no one else was really worthy enough of taking the belt or being able to lead the company. Shane is a very generic wrestler. His matches are very blah the whole way through. And can you even name any iconic feuds, matches, storylines with him throughout his reigns? No. And that's why he's not. You have iconic feuds, you have iconic matches, you have iconic storylines. Shane Douglas was just a very blah champion. And yes, outside his iconic promo that started ECW.
He cut the promo, yes, but he was the epitome of the ECW attitude.
Just because he cusses and threw the NWA belt down did not make him the epitome of ECW. The epitome of ECW
that was in '94. That's not the biggest focus on that. When ECW would bring in people like Brian Pillman, who was the one there to defend ECW? That was St. Douglas as the world heavyweight champion.
That don't mean anything.
Yeah, no, but hey, we're not talking about ECW in general. We're talking about the ECW world heavyweight champion. He's St. Douglas has had 4 reigns. Like I said, his entire since from '97 to '99, he was the world champion that carried that belt and carried the company through that period with him and his triple threat with Chris Candido and Bam Bam Bigelow.
And as soon as they went to TV and it started to matter who was not champion anymore, Shane Douglas. They started putting the belts on Raven. They put the belts on Sandman. They put the belts on basically anyone else but Shane Douglas. For that time period, he before TV, yes, it was Shane Douglas. But once they went to TV and pay-per-view, they took that belt off Shane pretty quick.
Oh yeah, when they went to pay-per-view, so from '97 through '99, one of their key periods for the total time period of pay-per-view. Granted, pay-per-view started in April of '97. For that time period, he was the world heavyweight champion for a 2-year period.
Sandman took the belt off him rather quickly, and who did they immediately give the belt to? Raven, who went through the story. One of the great storylines with Sandman, where he turns his wife and child against him, which was prime TV. But Raven storylines did that. And then you had the whole Tommy.
Did he need to be the world heavyweight champion? No. Was he capable of being? Was it the caliber to be the world heavyweight champion? We're talking about the world heavyweight title, not classic feuds, not iconic feuds, all that stuff.
Iconic feuds and classic matches are what makes champions champions, not just because you wear a belt, it's because of what you do when you have the belt. And Shane Douglas did nothing when he had the belt.
Oh, that no. It just Shane Douglas carried ECW on his back. Like I said, Paul Heyman gave him the ball. He ran with it
because Terry Funk couldn't hold it. Because
that's Shane Douglas's fault. That's not Shane Douglas's fault.
That's Shane Douglas's fault. I'm just saying you're making it seem like they put Shane Douglas on this pedestal. He was not the guy that was chosen. It was Terry Funk that was chosen.
Yeah. Okay.
But also, couldn't hold on anymore. It wasn't Shane. It was
when it comes to the ECW World Champion. Why is Raven considered one of the best to hold that title?
He was one of the best to hold the title because at the time he held the title is when ECW was at its most spotlight. He's the one who drawed the fans in. He's the one
you were mentioning like ECW wasn't on TV at the time. They weren't even on pay-per-view at the time. They just
found ways to try to find ECW because of what Raven was doing when he was champion. They were not
1 minute.
Shane Douglas was just right up there with him.
Shane Douglas even in his longest reign,
company on his back.
Shane's longest reign, it was his longest reign because he was injured through most of it, and they didn't have him defend the title at all. It's the same thing back with the whole Samoa Joe thing. You had a guy who had the belt who was injured, and he couldn't show up to drop the belt, so he stayed the champion because at that time...
Heyman, we're too afraid to take the title off him if we don't want him. Shane Douglas can still carry the company with his promos. Like
promos don't make a champion. Great matches,
but ECW is not founded on great matches. It was founded on vulgarity and hardcore wrestling. There is some good matches in ECW with people who come through, but that's not what the ECW World Heavyweight Title was based on.
So the World Heavyweight Title was based off of good promos and not good matches. And
Time. All right. So now we are moving into the closing. Sean, you started us off. Harley, you're starting off the closings. You have 60 seconds on the clock.
Okay, Shane Douglas. Like I said, you think of the ECW's World Championship, which this question is based on. What the question is, who was the best world champion, or who's the most iconic? the ECW World Heavyweight Championship, you think of really one person comes to mind, Shane Douglas, the person who held the title for the 4 reigns, but also he was the heart and soul of the ECW World Heavyweight title for the 7 years, for what, 5 no, you could say a little more than 6 years out of the 7-year history of ECW. Shane Douglas is the world heavyweight champion of ECW that you think of. Raven is not. Raven had a year reign, but you don't. When you think of ECW World Championship, you don't think of Raven.
Time. All right, Sean, it is your turn to close out this question. 60-second closing. Time starts when you start talking.
When I think of ECW champion, Shane Douglas is not even in my top 5. You think of Raven, you think of Taz, you think of Tommy Dreamer, you think of Sandman. You think of all those people before you get to Shane Douglas. Why? Because they were iconic. They had memorable matches. They had great storylines all the way through. Shane Douglas is the guy who just threw a belt down and cut a promo. His matches were boring. His reigns weren't anything to be mentioned of. He's just the guy who started ECW. He wasn't the guy who continued ECW. You saying because he had the most reigns doesn't mean anything. Jeff Jarrett has the most TNA reigns. That doesn't make him the best champion. That made him in charge of booking, which is what Shane Douglas was kind of a part of with Paul E. That doesn't make him the best. That makes him can control the company. That doesn't make him the best, most iconic champion. Just makes him the one that was forced to give the belt to the most. Jeff Jarrett's the same way with TNA. That doesn't make him the best champion. That just makes him the one that had the control. Same thing goes with Kevin Nash and Hogan in WCW. Raven had iconic feuds with Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, Rob Van Dam, all of these characters. Shane Douglas, I even asked you, can you name any iconics? And you didn't. That's why he's not the best champion.
Time. All right. This was another great debate, and it's my turn to give my 2 cents on it and give my opinion on who wins. And again, this was very back and forth. I just want to reiterate the question real quick. It was, what was the best ECW world champion, or who was the best, not what? And Sean, you were really leaning towards why Raven was more iconic and tying in how iconic means best when it doesn't always necessarily mean best. Harley, you did a good job of explaining, he had that long reign, he carried the company, but also he was the heart and soul of ECW. Everything he did was ECW. Again, these were 2 great debates. I'm going slightest of margins again, and I'm leaning a little bit more towards Harley right now. But again, it is not just me. We have 2 other people here. Kevin, tell us who gets your vote and why.
I'll keep this one short. There weren't enough points made, I feel like, from Harley to tell me why Shane Douglas was the best ECW world champion. Every point you did bring to me, Sean countered it. He held it the longest. It was countered by because he was injured and he couldn't defend it. He hit the shoulders of the company and the founder. No, that was Terry Funk, but he was too old. Douglas was the number 2. Promos do not a great champion make. So I got to give this point to Sean.
All right, so we have 1 vote Sean, 1 vote Harley. Nikki, we are coming down to you. The weight of this match is on your shoulder, so no pressure. Who gets your vote and who gets this point?
Well, Sean, I gotta say, I'll be honest. I think you kind of dug yourself in a hole with your opening statement. It was just a little jarring. But I think the next 2 rounds, you did a really good job at coming back from that and just making good points. You both had different opinions of what makes a champion. And I just think, Sean, you did a better job of iterating kind of with that brand what makes a champion. So I'm going to go point to you. And the win, apparently.
And your winner, by way of knockout, Sean the Crusader Wasserkrug. Sean, you battled. You won. You knocked Harley out. If you were in the NFL, you'd be suspended 2 seasons and kicked out of the league. How are you feeling?
I mean, Harley, you put on a great match. You definitely, I knew if I was going to have a chance, I had to win that ECW round. That was going to be the hardest one to win because you're right. Shane Douglas is iconic as champion. I had to find a way to argue it. As soon as you picked him, I was like, crap. But yeah, it's just how good you can argue. Great competitor. Even with the Samoa Joe one, that was a great battle. But yeah, once again, winner. Once again, no speed round. I still do not know what a speed round is. I've never made it to one. And another knockout. Whoever I'm playing next, be ready because yes, I am the Nerd Fights champion. I will be the future Sports Brawl champion, but Chokeslam is where I thrive. I'm a former professional wrestler. I know this stuff inside and out. I know you are too, Harley. we had two basically actual former wrestlers talking in this one. This is where I'm dangerous. This is where I know the most stuff. So, Nico, you're holding my belt. Make sure it looks clean for me because I'm coming for it, and you're not going to be able to stop me. Harley, once again, great match. I had fun. Nico, I'm coming. Triple crown.
All right, some words made to the champion. Sean, I will let you know because this just came up to me. You are playing the winner of either Richard Swartz, words are hard today, I guess, or Ryan Payne. Of those two, which would you rather take on?
I have dominated Richard before, and I've also heard from Ryan in judging of one of my Nerd Fight matches, I'm terrified to play Sean. So I'll take either one. They're both just going to be a meal for me. Nico's my target. Nico's who I'm coming after. Richard and Ryan are just a warm-up match.
All right. Hot shots taken, or as Koho would say, fire promo, but it wasn't a promo. Harley, we're moving on to you. You weren't able to pull out the victory today, but you still had a great game. I can guarantee there are some people in this league that you would have knocked out with those arguments. How are you feeling after that?
So I thought that I'd have a really good chance with the first 3 questions, but with the final one, it's just like pitch a main event of WrestleMania. Whoop-de-doo, who cares? When there has been a good main event in WrestleMania for a while now, so it's hard to get excited for that. So I thought, okay, for sure, I'm probably going to lose that one. But I feel, yeah, I'm happy with the win, with the way this went. Like Sean, fun debate, fun arguing with you. It's no secret, debating's not exactly my thing. But it's pro wrestling, and like I said, I love pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is my jam. So I like having some fun with it, and just, even debating about like. But it's just like also I'm calling out Super Athlete or who's ever in charge of the judges for Chokeslam. Since this league was announced, I've asked and I just can't get a straight answer from anyone. How do you become a judge? I want to try it out. It's not really try it out per se. I want to be involved like that because it seems like something that can be a lot of fun. I want to be on the opposite end of 2 people battling out. I want them to get me excited. I just think there's a lot of that could be. At least give me an opportunity to check it out, please, Subrath, or anyone who's in control of the judges. Like, it's not like I'll be going into wrestling debates with zero knowledge. No offense, Nikki. It just I can, if someone debates something, I'm probably going to understand where they're coming from. So I'll be able to help make some sense out of that stuff. I just want to give it a shot. But it's just like, yeah, I'm not the best at debating myself. But Sean, like that was good. Go after Nico. Take that title. I'm like the trivia is where definitely wrestling trivia is where I stand out. Like I'm so knowledgeable on so many aspects of the pro wrestling industry. Like Sean said, we're both former pro wrestlers. We loved it so much we gave it a shot. So yeah, and if you're like me, you had a lot of fun doing that too. But yeah. So it is what it is. I'm not going to get too worked up that I got knocked out in a debate. I tried my best. I debated as best as I could in this with these questions and all that. Like there were good questions. I'm not crapping on the questions at all. Sorry if that sounded like that. It's just like I said. I know debating's not my strong suit, so I'm not too beat up over the fact that I went up against a really good person who's really really good with debates, as he's proven with his titles that he had. Well, with the one title that he has, and the fact that he's going for the other one, and that he has a really good chance at this one too. So it is what it is. So yeah.
All right, and then my last question for you: is there anyone out there that you have your eyes on that you're looking to turn your losing streak around and knock them out? Is there anyone in the league that you're wanting to do that to? You know that you can take them out?
As much fun as it would be to actually be debating Nico, because like I know Nico pretty well, and I think that could be fun. But he is a champion, and that's not even probably going to happen. But potentially maybe another good friend, Hunter Chambliss, Hitman.
Another knockout victim.
Hey, maybe. Like, why not? I'm like, Hunter, come on. I think you and me debate. It's going to be fun.
All right, we've had the call out. Hunter, Harley wants you. She wants you to put her on your list, and then she's going to take your list and Chanju style destroy your list.
Wait, it's
JTH, let's make this happen.
That's honestly a fun match. Let's put it this way, guys. I'm a co-admin for Chokeslam. I will sanction that match. Harley, Hunter. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, since
I'm down.
You're a co-admin. Let me direct one of my previous questions to you.
We'll talk after the live.
Okay.
We'll talk after the live.
I'll show you some comments. So with that, I have been Papa West, Jacob E. West. That has been Kevin, the Big Poss Man Poss, Nikki Sullivan, Harley, Queen of Crime Boric, and Sean the Crusader Wasserkrug. And this has been Chokeslam, and this is where I say something clever at the end. I'm still working on a nice catchphrase.
Can you smell what Papa West is cooking?